Hello, my loves. How are you? So, the best word I can come up with to describe the current energies is reorganization. I am going to light us some Palo Santo because it has just been smelling and feeling really supportive the last 24 hours. Um, so, how have you guys been? Yesterday was quite intense. These last few weeks have been quite intense. This reorganization energy is coming forward as this feeling of having a lot of things that you want to do, but not necessarily the energy or the power behind actually achieving them in this exact moment. This does not mean that they are not going to be accomplished or achieved. It just means right now, there's not necessarily that oomph of energy to support that. But there's actually something really powerful you can do during this time if the energy isn't there in the flow to get things done. You can actually sit, be present, and actually visualize and imagine, see yourself actually doing and accomplishing what it is that you're wanting to do. And what this does is it actually helps to pave the pathway. It sets your intention. It helps you embody into that stabilized energy of your intention. And then also, what happens as the energy starts to flow again and there's energy to support the actions, you will have actually put yourself in that flow. So once things line up, you'll find that the tasks or what you're wanting to accomplish can actually happen a lot easier. I've actually gone through this many times before. It hasn't happened in a long time, but I've been acutely aware that this energy is very potent right now. And I did a post for my members yesterday because I didn't even have the support to do a video, but yet I was able to write a post quite effortlessly. And many of you commented in return that you've been feeling a lot of this similar energy of maybe even starting some projects, but then not being able to complete them in the moment. Things that would normally feel really simple and easy feel exceedingly heavy and hard, and then other things just flow quite effortlessly. You may also be experiencing moments of feeling very heavy, almost down. And then next thing you know, you feel the lightness, you feel up, you can feel the hope and the excitement for what's coming. And then it's just these deep processes that are unfolding. Now, I know some of it for me is connected to um, channeling the Ageless series because in the third session, we went very deeply into unraveling out of the webs and the sticky tari energy because we've been working so deeply on the root chakra. Um, in my senses, even though I'm holding space for that series, I have a deep sense that these are the collective energies, and many of you are definitely validating and sharing that this is quite true. Given everything that we're seeing happening in the world, this makes sense, right? Especially for so many of us who have, over this past 5 or 6 years, especially been going through very deep healing processes, facing the shadows, unraveling codependence, really embodying more deeply into our authentic selves, um, looking at the truth, being able to hold and stabilize even while witnessing these very uncomfortable processes within ourselves, but also in the world around us. And so, the people who've been like focusing on that are really right now being called really deep into the root chakra, into the earth star chakra, into our foundation. And this is helping us to stabilize and embody much clearer, much more deeply. And at the same time, it's also rustling up residuals of what we are focusing on clearing. So you may find that some things from the past are sort of swirling around. It could be past relationships. There's been a lot of very deep, intense dreams, even those type of dreams that feel very real, like you're working on different old timelines, having conversations with people from your past. I've even had multiple nights where I've been talking to my mom, who passed away many years ago. Yeah, it feels like I'm talking to her on a timeline where she's still alive, but not necessarily well. So it's really fascinating. It feels like there's quite a bit of things that we're processing in these ways. So um, it felt important to acknowledge, and it does again feel like we're cleaning up past timelines or other timelines. Remember, in the quantum field, everything is happening simultaneously. And a big part of what we're doing when we talk about organizing and embodying into our highest potential, our highest timeline, some of what we're doing is getting all of those parts of ourselves, maybe even on other timelines and other ways in the quantum energy, to all start to sync up. And as I'm saying that, I just had this vision, if you will, if this feels good to you, you could even envision, okay, hey, if my energy is on other parallel timelines right now, what can I do to support every dimension, every aspect, every part of my energy actually coming into sync, into alignment? And this is interesting as I'm saying this because I just remembered on my calendar, I have no idea when I put it in my calendar. I'm not entirely sure why. I think that I might know why, but I looked on my calendar for today and it literally says aligned. That's all I wrote on the calendar as like one of my things for today. I think it might be connected. I've been doing the nighttime teeth aligners, but I had to have some changes with it, so I'm not even halfway done with it. But my original set, I was supposed to be done in April sometime. So it might be that, but it also feels much deeper than that because even me working with aligning my teeth is like an example of me setting that intention to come into alignment. You see what I mean? So there's things that we can do physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, on all the dimensions to just gently focus our energy on syncing up and aligning with ourselves. And what feels important as I say this is I can sense some of you might feel a little bit anxious about this idea. But really, in a way, it's just this same thing that we've really been working on, which is essentially unraveling what's no longer supporting ourselves and retrieving our essence and energy from memories, from our subconscious, from places and spaces where we were not doing well, where we were traumatized, where we weren't this version of ourselves. So, in a sense, whether it's an actual memory that you feel still traumatized by, you can go into that memory, retrieve yourself. Or if it's actually past contracts with people, places, or things that come back around, and you're doing and participating differently with those experiences, and you're shifting the energy, you're shifting, excuse me, the contract so that you can align with who you are now. So this kind of goes back to my recent Divine Feminine video where I spoke about as you were like coming back out, things come back up. But it's now you get to choose how you're going to interact, how you're going to participate, and you get to embody into the version of who you are now. You may find some things like bring stuff up for you, and then you have to address that. And you might find other things pop up, and it's just an easy, like, yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm gonna just let that move along. And it's all just part of the capacity to hold and be comfortable with everything as it is. And what I mean, it doesn't mean you agree to things that are uncomfortable. It simply means that you're getting more and more comfortable and strong and stable within yourself. So there's no longer a need, obviously, unless you're unsafe, to run or panic. There's more of a check-in point where you check in with your heart. How does this feel? Do I want to participate in this? Is this something that I want to spend my energy on? And if the answer is no, it doesn't mean you have to run and go hide back in hermit mode. It simply means, okay, I don't have to participate with it. I don't have to run away. That can be present in the world, and I can be present in the world, and I can choose how I'm going to focus my energy. I'm going to choose what I participate in, and I'm going to discern for myself if something feels aligned or not. Okay. And if in a moment you're uncertain, that is quite all right. You take a step back, you take space for yourself to contemplate, journal, meditate, really connect in with that part of you, not just your higher self, but actually drop into your heart, drop into the roots. Does this feel safe? Does this feel comfortable? Is it not safe because my intuition is telling me something is shady? Or does it not feel safe because a part of me is triggered from a past trauma? Or is it a little bit of both, right? You can really take the space to step back and stabilize for yourself, especially when we're in these root chakra, sacral chakra topics. And like I spoke about recently, our presence with awareness into the roots is exceedingly powerful. It is a very potent energy and information. And actually, one of the things I wanted to share with you guys, I've had this woman popping up on my Instagram, and she talks about traditional Chinese medicine, but she speaks about the importance of actually the feminine, the yin energy is really about getting into the body. It's about slowing down. And when I touch in with what she's speaking on, I can really feel so deeply that this is what so many of us have been naturally doing. And sometimes it can feel different or like something's wrong or disconcerting because we were forced for so long to constantly be taking action. But actually, a lot of the feminine energy is in many ways physically about slowing down, calming down, and getting into heart-centered calm and compassion. Okay. And as I say that, really one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on in the last session for the Ageless series is the importance, one of the most supportive ways to help our body is to focus on a calm, relaxed nervous system, unraveling, dissolving, resolving stress in any ways that we can. And over time, myself, as I've learned about working with emotions and energy and spirituality, even as I calmed all of those things down, there was a point where I was emotionally stable, but physically, my body was still in a form of PTSD mode. And that can present with symptoms and experiences that can present as unexplainable ailments or pains or um, things that can look like autoimmune or things of that nature. And I'll let you guys research some of that on your own if you feel guided for now. But no matter what is going on with us individually or in the world, or no matter how much things feel very confusing, like we're in this reorganization process, you can always, always, always bring it back to how can I care for my system, my nervous system? What do I need to do right now to help my body, my brain to calm down? How can I breathe and bring my energy and essence home to my body, envisioning it coming all the way down into the feet, all the way down into the roots, going outside, getting your body on the land in nature. Also, a really important part of grounding is that those things. But what I've found is one of the most powerful things that has ever occurred for me was actually, yes, connecting with the heart of Mother Earth, envisioning your roots, but also embodying into your own Earth Star chakra. And I say this because there was a point in time where it felt scary to ground myself to the earth. I really wasn't sure. It was like this, it felt unsafe. Not earth in of itself, but the collective energies. But what I found was by having my own lane and focusing my energy from source to the earth in my own pillar of light, in my own stream, in my own energy, it gave me a safe, stable place to land in directly into the earth, and cultivating and strengthening my relationship to the earth the same way that I cultivate my relationship to creator. And this is something I work with in my sessions. In fact, I would say 95% of my first sessions, this is one of the main areas where people are really needing support, maybe didn't even really know that they needed that level of support. But it's also powerful because as you stabilize into those areas, it actually helps you receive your results more clearly because you are grounded and anchored in the physical on the earth, which actually is where the organizing power resides. Okay. So even if things aren't feeling organized right now in your life or in your world or in your mind, stabilizing into the earth with the intention of connecting with and manifesting and interacting with what is in your highest alignment will actually help you start to weed out what isn't aligned for you in that organization energy, but also help to create the space for you to physically manifest the actions and the experiences that you're wanting to happen in your life. Again, like I said, this is something I do in my one on ones, but also about a year ago, I recorded a session called Your Own Pillar of Light, and that's over on my web store. I will try to do my best to remember to drop that in the pinned comments for any of you who might want to work with that. But if you're not already doing it, or if you've been doing it and you want to strengthen it, I feel one of our most potent and powerful and important tools is developing our own direct connection to the earth and our own direct connection to source, creator, God, however you resonate the universe, but having those points and having that pillar of energy and that's just for you gives you a home base to navigate from. And Again, that's always present in my sessions. It's also present in my recorded sessions, but it's also really important, I believe, that each of you are cultivating your own. You can do this through intention, through writing out your intention, um, speaking it, repeating it for yourself, drawing it. What does that look like? Creating that visual blueprint, meditating, creating your own visuals. There's lots of different ways, but for me, this is a foundational tool to have your safe foundation to navigate from, a place in a space where you can get everyone else's voice out of your head and hear your own. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't connect with anybody else ever. This just means you have a space that's just for you and the energies, okay? Where, oh, it's 11:11, where you can really anchor into that. And I think that probably many of you do that on some level, but it's just, I really don't know that I could say this enough because it's you creating your own stable foundation of connection, and not just in one dimension, but through all the dimensions. Being responsible for harnessing your own energy, your own power, and your own connection to your sovereignty. Okay, my loves, I know that I talked about a lot here. I hope that it makes sense and that it flowed well. I feel like there's a couple things I touched on that maybe I could have expanded upon. So if it felt like I left something open-ended and you want me to address it, please feel free to drop it in the comments because again, things are reorganizing and I wasn't 100% sure what was going to come through today. So this was a very, very freestyle video. And I, again, am sending you so much love and stay tuned. You can stay on the lookout in my post tab. I will most likely be doing a member video and also the last session for the Ageless series within the next day or two. Also, for those of you in the Ageless series, I know I said I was going to do not only a session, but a video to talk about these topics and the ageless energies. And that will be coming. There's just been so much, again, reorganizing and shifting and opening. I want to just give that a little bit of space to land in a nice, coherent way. So stay tuned. Those will all be on their way. And as I said before, I'm sending you so much love. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, night, and weekend. Take care. Much love.